everyone, and welcome to Random Number Generation. This is our 50th episode. Oh my gosh, where did the time go? And this is Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights randomizer with the one and only Keyzeron. Before we get...
Hello, that's me.
Absolutely. We have a lot to talk about during this show, and I'm sure a lot of folks have some questions for you and me as well. Before we get started, I do have some announcements on behalf of GDQ. Frost Fatale game and volunteer submissions are open from now until November 14th. Go to gamesdonequick.com for more information. If you have missed out on any of our GDQ Hotfix shows, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. If you're watching on YouTube, it is wonderful to see you all here. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Feel free to join us over at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out our live shows starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And while you're there, Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits. Please consider subscribing to help support future broadcasts. Also on YouTube, GDQ Sum of Best Segments is now launched. It is a highlight channel with regular videos like our main channel, but with small highlight reels for all of our main events and hotfix. And also, real quick, as a reminder again, after the show, we will have the BioShock trilogy on aimbot, which I'm super excited for. So again, lots of fantastic programming right here tonight on GDQ Hotfix. Keys, how are you doing this evening?
Oh God, I am tired for no particular reason. I am just tired. Not the greatest night of sleep, but not too tired to do this. Ender Lilies is a super duper fun game. It's very recently released, like end of June of this year, something like that, like June 21. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've actually done it twice for Hotfix so far, but not in a randomizer. This is something that Trex, who is one of the admins of the community, worked on for quite some time. And yeah, pretty much everything's randomized besides rooms. You can actually have like a room randomizer where you just go to different rooms depending on the load zone, but we're not doing that because I want to be able to actually, finish this underestimate. But yeah, so we also have a tracker somewhere on the screen. I didn't ask Richard where it was, but it's somewhere. I'm maybe pointing below me. Okay, I'm pointing down. It's down somewhere. But just to go over the tracker real quick before we actually do start, I'll just read it all off in order as quickly as I can. We have Guardian Silva, which is kind of a soft double jump. We have Verboten Champion, which is like a cooldown double jump. We have Ulv the Mad Knight, which is like a horizontal movement that's kind of Incompetent Sinner, which is also a horizontal movement. We got a Mask, which helps for the end dungeon. And then we have a bunch of abilities here. We have double jump, we have a ground pound, we have swim, we have something called wings, which is a dash. We have last rites, which is an ultimate. We have a hook shot. We have claws, so we can get on walls. We have something that's actually called dash, which always confuses me. We have something called piercing spectral lance, which breaks through walls. And then we have unlock, which, as it sounds, unlocks doors. Below that, you'll see like a chapter counter. That's the interesting thing about Ender Lilies is depending on how many main bosses you defeat, it actually makes the game harder. So if we have to beat 3 main bosses, then we'll be on chapter 4, and that's how hard the final boss will be. If we have to fight all of them, we'll be on chapter 9. So it's kind of a strategy of this randomizer to try and avoid bosses unless you are really comfortable with the fights. We have a go mode thing. There's B ending and C ending. We're doing C ending, which is the true ending, which requires 7 stone tablet fragments, which is the thing that's all the way to the right here. There's a couple of items here, like the Vibrant Plume and Fredia's Ring, which helps with movement. And then below is kind of like not necessary information, but just kind of nice to know. Like all of these tell you like if I have enough slots to equip different relics or how much health I have or how well I can heal. So like not as important as the other things. The big thing is the second and third row. You want to see those basically almost completely filled out. And then that stone tablet fragment, you want to see 7. And that's how we know that we can go and beat the true ending of the game. As for like actually other things that are randomized, literally every pickup is randomized. So what could normally be like a piece of lore might actually be an ability, or it might be a new weapon. In fact, everything is so randomized that my starting weapon is going to be randomized, which is a new thing that was added very recently, like literally like a day or 2 ago. So I don't know what I'm going to start with. It's not going to be the default sword that you normally start the game with, because I had Trex give me a seed that specifically starts without the sword and with a different weapon. So that's going to be really fun to find out what that is. But other than that, just basic Metroidvania stuff. We just got to run around and get stronger and get abilities and beat the game.
That was a very thorough way of explaining settings. This may set a new standard for shows going forward, Keys. We need those things like if you've ever seen like the Bob Ross show where like you get the different paint colors on the bottom of the screen. We need that.
Oh yeah, one of those like scrolling thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. All right, let's get this started. Are you ready to go?
I am good to go.
All right, let's go.
All right, I'll start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck and have fun. So you had mentioned something about estimates. On general, where are your times for this game in proportion to our estimate of 2 hours and 15 minutes?
Without the weapon randomized, which we actually did get a good weapon, so I'm not sad about it. We got Ulf, so I'll actually mark that. Without the weapon randomizer, I've been averaging about anywhere between 145 to 2 hours ever since I got a little more comfortable with it. But when I first started, it was like 215 to 230. Like, this game is huge. So there's a lot of options that you have, and it just kind of comes down to getting comfortable with it so you know, like, what a better choice is. And the big thing is, you know, making sure, hey, I'm going to go to this area because I can get 3 or 4 items instead of, you know, do a lot of stuff to get 1 item. You just got to play the odds and play statistics.
Yeah, so I don't know much about the vanilla game in general, but from what I can understand from the little bit of research I did prior to this, it does remind me ever so slightly of a Metroidvania.
Oh, it is 100% a Metroidvania. Like it focuses, it's a little more on the Castlevania side of things than the Metroid side, but it is a tried and true Metroidvania. There is a couple of like linear spots here and there, but not enough to, you know, take the Metroidvania part away. I'm actually gonna add stuff to my loadout here, and I'm also going to enhance Ulf. So we get things called Blight. That's like the currency to upgrade your stuff. There's Stagnant Blight. Oh my goodness. There's a Stagnant Blight, which helps with the yellow spirits, which are known as sub-spirits. And then there's Furious Blight, which helps with the main spirits, which are the red ones. And there's also a specific blight called Ancient Souls for the Umbral starting weapon, which, as I mentioned before, we are not doing Umbral, so that might not come into play. We got a lot of movement early, though. Like, this scares me. I'm one of those people that I'm more scared if a seed treats me well early than if it treats me late. Because if it treats you well early, that means you're probably doing a lot of work later. So I feel like it's trying to give me false hope.
Oh, certainly. That reminds me of whenever I start like a Zelda 1 randomizer, for example. If we get things that we need immediately, we call those the 3 gifts. But then after that, just don't expect anything great for the rest of the seed.
Oh, yeah. I've had so many seeds that I've done where within the first like 30 or 40 minutes, I have almost everything. It's like, awesome. Like maybe I can beat this super fast and like set a new PB, but then I'll need unlock, and unlock is like an hour to look for in that seed. So I don't trust this game too much.
Well, I mean, it's a randomizer. Anything with super random elements in that, and you and I are very familiar with this, Keys. You kind of learn to not trust these things over time, right?
Oh, 100%. Can I reach this? Very good. Yeah, there's an area above this room, for example, that we can't reach without the claw ability. So there's just, like any other Metroidvania, there's just a lot that you have to figure out to traverse the world. The most likely thing that I would imagine happening is we'll probably get Swim, which will unlock a couple of areas. I have never done this fight with this spirit before. This is, oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Thanks, Trex. I really like this Ulf start. This is great.
Oh my.
Yeah, so this is Guardian Sigrid. This is the first main boss of the game. It's kind of a tutorial boss. It's kind of showing you like, hey, this is how you fight a boss. Sometimes bosses can transform, and by sometimes I mean there's only one other boss that really does this, so it's kind of weird. But boss down, not too hard. So now you're gonna see, if you look at the tracker, you're gonna see Chapter 1 change to Chapter 2 because Sigrid, even though Sigrid Vanilla gives you a sub-spirit, Sigrid is considered a main boss. So now everything in the world is a little tougher. Unless you do like a room randomizer, you're pretty much guaranteed to at least make it to Chapter 2. Like there's no way to skip this fight otherwise. And And then, of course, with the randomizer, there's logic to everything, too, such as, you know, we need some sort of vertical movement to get past the next room I'm going to. So that would be either double jump as an ability or, Anxious Souls, double jump as an ability, or Verboten Champion, which I have equipped on my B button, or Silva as like a fake double jump, or Claw, which would help me get up this wall. So, you know, there's some logic that goes into the randomizer, and every seed should be able to be finished, so.
Well, and this is a new question I want to start asking on the show. What would constitute as a quote-unquote bad seed? Some things that you just don't want to see in this game.
Well, I say this out of stubbornness because I don't like the spirit, but if I had Garrett as a start, which is another main spirit, I would cry because he's very big and slow, and I hate him, and I complain about him literally every time. If my movement option was only Silva for a while, and I had nothing else and I was finding nothing, then that would be a really, really bad seed. Also, any seed that another randomizer runner named Seb does is bad by default. Sorry, Seb. I hate your seeds.
Wow.
They're cursed. They're cursed!
Why are you calling out folks on this?
Because his seeds are cursed! All of this is so good. I like this. So yeah, there's also like, as I mentioned before, like there's sub spirits. So, you know, obviously there's like mini bosses, and this is the first mini boss available to you in the game. We got lore completely useless, but I mean, it is on the way anyway. One big thing that I do when it comes to a randomizer of like this scope and this size is I'll typically try to clear out an area as much as I can within reason, because the way that the logic treats the game, especially if you're going for true ending, is each area has one stone tablet fragment, minus a couple of exceptions here and there. Like the beginning area is known as the church. It can't be in the church. Otherwise, it's in every area besides like Hinterlands, I think is what it's called. So there are 7 areas minus those 2 areas. So each area has one stone tablet fragment. So there is logic behind getting that. And there's also just some logic in getting items, but obviously even if you have a stone tablet fragment from an area, that doesn't mean you're done with it, because that area could still have a ton of different movement. Right now, the name of the game is just picking up as many items as possible and trying to find movement. The stone tablet fragments would be nice to prep ourselves for the end game, obviously, but we want to be able to reach the end game to even prep for it. Verboten Champion is such a chore as a double jump. It's on a cooldown. It's so terrible. Ow.
Have you ever, so I'm listening to this music right now from this game. It kind of has like a classical music feel. Mm-hmm. It makes me giggle to think about the fact that, and this comes with many randomizers, you know, you're hearing this wonderful classical music here, and then just something really bad happens. You find something in a terrible spot, and you end up saying words that probably aren't savory here, and it's just this classical music still going on in the background. It's gotta be funny when that happens.
Oh no, it like don't get me wrong. Just like anyone else, I don't want to fail, and like if I die in a fight or like lose some time, it obviously sucks. But like when you have something really chill in the background like this, it's really hard to stay mad. Okay, here's kind of the downside of our vertical movement being Verboten Champion. If you notice, I'm literally waiting around a lot just so I can actually use it. If you had Silva, you would pretty much, the Last Rites is our ultimate. I guess I could talk about that real quick. I don't have the greatest spirit right now for an ultimate, but so what happens with your ultimates is there's that meter to the left there, and you fill it up by, you know, doing attacks and whatnot, hitting enemies. And also we got Hook. That's really, really good. But yeah, every single main spirit has like an ultimate ability you can do. So like if you had the default sword, which is Umbral, he just does like a bunch of slashes in one swing. This one, which is Ov, he does like a ground pound if you're on the ground, and if you're in the air, he does an X attack of sorts. Yeah, sure. So relics, I'll slow down for a little bit for this one. Relics give you different abilities, and also the relic costs are randomized in randomizer. So this is normally not 3 slots to take up. This normally is 2, so that's kind of lucky. So this actually gives me a second gauge, so we can have 2 ultimates instead of just 1, which is kind of neat. So Amulet Gen gives us health. Also, I want to change my loadout again real quick because I forgot that I got more horizontal movement. So there we go.
So I gotta ask, this game just came out this year. This is a 2021 release, which is sweet. What inspired you to pick this game up in the first place?
So my partner Emre is really, really big into Metroidvanias, and they reached out to Emre, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to try our game? We can give you a key." And I looked at the trailer, and I'm like, "Babe, this is really sick. Like, do you think they'd give me a key too?" And she asked, and you know, they were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll give keys a key." And so I played it, and oh, I forgot there's a hook there. I'm not really like well versed into Metroidvanias. In fact, like the only like Metroid or Castlevania that I had ever played prior to this was a Hollow Knight and a couple of Metroid games and one Castlevania, all for the first step. So this is my first actual four-way, and Ori, and so like this is my actual like first four-way into like casually playing a game like this, and I got really intrigued by how the game played, and so I just decided to pick it up for a speedrun.
Oh, so you speedrun the vanilla version of this?
Yes, I do the longer categories. I do, so there's an all spirits category, which is basically like a game version of a boss rush. You literally just beat all the bosses and main bosses. And then I also do the 100% category. And as if I recall right now on any patch that's 1.0, because we're currently on patch 115, I believe any patch that is 1.0, I have the record in right now. Oh God, I just want this item. Come on, game. Is this gonna land? Good. This is the neat thing about the randomizer. That is not how you would normally try to get that item. Like not in any way, shape, or form. But because we have completely randomized stuff and we have to work with what we have, it's pretty neat.
Richard's throwing shade, saying that had to remind you of Ori keys.
Listen, my argument is Ori 2 is a Metroidvania and Ori 1 I don't think is.
Wow. Sounds like a strong opinion.
I think it's a puzzle. I think it's a puzzle game. It is indeed a strong opinion, though. I'll admit that. So we're just going to wander over here real quick. I can't swim right now, so we can't go any further to the right than where I'm at right now. But there is an item I can grab here, so we might as well while I'm in the area. Just more blight, so nothing that helps with progression. But it is pretty nice to have hook right now. It's not something I normally get this early, so it's actually making some jumps interesting. Because for whatever reason, there's just hooks all over the place.
Seb had seemed very excited about the hook in chat. And I'm like, I wonder why that is so significant so early.
Ooh, I did that horribly wrong. That's okay. Yeah, it's really interesting because like the early game has a lot of hooks. Like there's a lot of hooks early. So like I guess they're trying to just, I don't know, let the players know that, hey, there's going to be more movement available later.
So you speedrun the vanilla game. What made you pick up the randomizer? Was it just one of those, grinding's kind of a chore, and sometimes playing the randomizer helps to reinforce some of those skills that are needed for the vanilla version?
Oh, actually, you know what? The fact that you say that, like, absolutely. I like doing the randomizer because it helps me keep my, like, 100% knowledge. Also, we just got Dash, which is the man that I'm riding all of a sudden. What's interesting about this is we have really fast movement now because of it, but it's 1/2 of like a hole that we need. So there's the piercing spectral lance I was talking about before, which is absolutely required to beat the game. And it's split up into 2 abilities, which if you play vanilla, you get both of them at the same time, but it's completely split up in randomizers. So we have the movement, but we don't have the actual lance. Like we joke in my chat that if we get one or the other, we have the haft and we're still missing like the rest of it. But I got the body, like I got the stick for the lance, but I don't have the lance itself. Oh. Trying really hard to just get all these different items out of the way. We still don't have the stone tablet fragment from this area, so you know we got to find that for sure. But there's also just a lot of items we have access to anyway. gonna fight another boss here. Olv as a starting weapon is so good.
So for those tuning in, what is the main objective of the game? How do you complete either the vanilla version or a randomizer?
So like any other Metroidvania, it's pretty much just get a certain combination of abilities and then fight the final boss. There are 3 endings to this game. There's one that's kind of like a soft ending where you literally just run away. So you don't need all the abilities for that. That's ending A. Why did I go back here? That's ending A. And then ending B is you fight the final boss, but you don't have everything set up. Like you don't have all the stone tablet fragments. And with the stone tablet fragments, you get an item that you equip on the boss. So you actually, stone tablet fragment. So you actually fight like a tougher version of the boss. And then there's ending C, which is the one that we're going for. So it's just like any other Metroidvania. You just got to get a combination of different things. And in the case of this randomizer, it's basically almost every item that's on the 2nd and 3rd row of the tracker. Like, I don't necessarily need everything, but you need most of it. You for sure need swim. You for sure need slam. You for sure need dash and piercing spectral lance. And then I believe from there you need one of either hook or claw. Just grabbing a bunch of items right now. This is a room with a lot of checks. Since we got the stone tablet fragment, we can go to other areas right now and just focus on clearing out different areas, but we have enough of some stuff to go ahead and just search the rest of the area that we can. So that is the plan.
I noticed that your movement is very polished, and again, I'm sure this comes from speedrunning the vanilla version. How much familiarity should somebody have with this game before picking up the randomizer? If randomizers are more their thing versus speedrunning.
Sure. I think you need to have like a decent amount of familiarity with this game, for sure, because there's just a lot of different combinations. Oh, I forgot there was a hook here. This is how often I don't get hook. There's a lot of different combinations of things that you can do, and just like having a general knowledge of the game will help make the randomizer a little easier. I do believe, don't quote me on this, but I do believe they might be making a version of the randomizer that has like easier mode, like a logic that's like more suited for people who have casually played the game. And there's talks of having like a hard mode where you have to know all the different skips and stuff. So if that is actually happening, then that would probably change my statement a little bit.
We have a question.
I definitely think like a little bit of knowledge for sure.
We have a question from the chat. And, you know, y'all have to ask this when Keys is on and then make me look bad, but I'm going to ask it because it's a good one. Can you get soft locked 1 hour or more into a run? I'm sorry, Keys.
I better not. There'll be a very angry DM to Trex if so. If I get soft locked, it's not my fault.
Yeah, we have Trex and Seb both in the chat already, so I've been trying to follow along the conversation there too as I'm learning about this.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, Trex is responsible for creating the randomizer. Seb's a really good runner who's also done vanilla runs too. Seb has also done all spirits like I have, and also runs any % B ending. And if Lurch is in there, then Lurch is responsible for working on the tracker.
Yes. All of these wonderful folks are in chat right now. Everybody is here and excited for this game. And again, I haven't seen this before either. And one of my favorite parts so far is just the sheer movement through these rooms, Keys. It looks so polished.
Yeah, like any other game, you know, there's a couple of things here and there that, you know, once you play it a little more, it's a little more noticeable that, hey, you know, this could have been like done a little more cleanly. But yeah, visually speaking, like this game is really, really good. The movement feels really fluid. It's not too often that you have like dropped inputs or anything like that. And the combat's really fun too. Like it's a really fun game. Like anyone who doesn't have the game, I definitely recommend considering it. And you know, if affordability is a thing, then maybe put it on your Christmas list for Santa.
Another question, would it be possible for the save data to become corrupted if you get soft locked?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I really overcomplicated that. just hanging on the edge. Okay, so I'm not going to get this item. There's 3 items that are over to the left, but I can only access one of them right now. So that's kind of a we'll come back if we need to deal.
Folks, we're talking about the game's art and the game's music, and it's fortunate that this game has this, because as Keith said, you know, it's a randomizer. So obviously you're going to get frustrated with it at some point, we'll put it. And it's hard to stay frustrated for long when everything looks so beautiful and everything sounds so beautiful. I mean, the word heck, for instance, just does not work well with this music and this game's demeanor.
Yeah,
so.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite things. Anytime I'm running this game, I'll catch myself humming the music. Like just unless I have to talk about something. So you won't hear the humming too much this stream, but on my stream, if I'm playing this, like, you definitely hear me humming the music. Oh, this is awkward. So this is a bird. I hate this boss. I actually think, low-key, this is one of the most annoying bosses to fight, because if you don't have, like, that was good. If you don't have any sort of, like, verticality in a randomizer, then you have to pretty much wait for it to fly down. So it's torture. It's not like a difficult boss in terms of like actually fighting it or its health pool or anything like that. But between the verticality and the fact that its stun meter, which I haven't really talked about that yet, but its stun meter actually replenishes way quicker than I would imagine. Also, if you see me stop, that's because I'm writing down where I get these fragments. So we got the village fragment. That's good.
So there was a question.
Don't be fooled by the progress.
There was a question unrelated in chat, but actually this is something me and Keys were going to talk about. It was on our agenda. So someone was asking about when is the next big GDQ event start. Well, on that note, the AGDQ 2022 games list is up. So if you haven't seen that, you can go on over to GamesDoneQuick.com to see that. And, you know, why don't you tell folks why on social media and stuff, why Forbidden Memories should have a primetime slot? You know,
you see,
just saying.
See, Forbidden Memory should have a primetime slot for a couple of reasons. One, we're doing it. That's right, folks. If you weren't aware, me and Sky are doing a race of Forbidden Memories, which is...
Yes.
I'm still shocked this day, because like I never thought the game would ever get in any way, shape, or form, and here we are.
Oh, yeah, and that is January 9th through the 16th, by the way, for anyone wanting. We'll be playing sometime in there. The games list, I believe, should be out soon. I'm going to confirm here. Next week, yes. Okay, so games list is out. The schedule should be out next week.
Let's see. How do I do this? No, I went too far.
So I expect that run to be full of memes, me and Keys picking on each other. It should just be all around fantastic. I expect a lot of the donations to also be full of Yu-Gi-Oh memes. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm super duper. We might have a familiar face do commentary too.
Oh yes,
from what we discussed.
Yep. It's gonna be great.
All right, so that's an interesting thing I haven't talked about yet. So I just got a relic that was a mask, which there's a mask on the tracker. So you would think, okay, cool, he got the mask. However, there are unused relics in this game. So they were programmed in the game, but for one reason or another, they didn't make the final cut. But the code was still in, and you can get those in this. So I got an unused relic that shares the mask graphic, so we don't actually have a mask. It's kind of unfortunate. The mask isn't a huge deal. I can beat the game without it, but man, is it easier with the mask.
Yeah, there were some folks asking about a run. So I developed a marathon safe route for 15 card. By the way, we're not playing one card. No.
Oh, God.
I could go off on a whole other tangent about why one card is a bad idea for events, period. But no, I found a marathon safe route that works pretty reliably in 2 hours and 55 minutes. And why? Because we like to prepare for the worst case scenario by far. For example, it took me 21 attempts to get 2 MBDs on Meadow last night alone. And that's not very good odds. You know, this is random number generation. We do need to still talk about randomness. Those are terrible odds. Do the math, you know, 15 cards times 21 attempts. That's a lot. That is a lot of attempts for cards.
Yup.
So
I'm pretty excited for it, though. We've been wanting to do something like this for a while.
Oh,
I'm still just shocked. I'm still just shocked that it got in.
Oh, me too. I mean, when we submitted it, we were like, we'll see. And it just, when the games list came out, I was just like, oh my goodness. There's a lot of fantastic stuff on that list, by the way, that Richard just linked for the games list proper. A lot of things I'm excited about. So let us know what you all are excited about as we calmly make our, well, at least for me, I'm just watching. It's maybe more stressful for Keys. As we calmly make our way through this beautiful randomizer that is Ender Lilies here. Feel free. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about here, either with the game or with the games list. Or their 5 trends.
What 5 trends?
Yeah, no.
I'm known in this randomizer for being super duper stubborn. So logically speaking, there's a boss called Garrett that's, you know, to the right. We're not going to it quite yet. I'm actually kind of wasting my time a little bit with a slower check. So Garrett is a main boss. So the reason why that's important to keep in mind is, like I said before, if you beat a main boss, your chapter goes up, so things get harder. Well, I am stubbornly trying to avoid fighting him to keep things at chapter 2. Even though, logically speaking, with the abilities that we have, I should probably go that way because there's an entire area I can access. I'm just being stubborn.
Speaking of being stubborn, someone says, y'all don't want to A-Tech for 10 hours? No! I did 41 of those in a single setting. No. For
bad.
1 card. Yeah. Look at Keys, though, just making quick work out of this boss. This is incredible.
Oh God, he hurts. I need to heal. He's almost dead.
Wow, that actually healed you for a fair amount.
Yeah, so my health bar isn't too huge right now, but oh, hey, neat. He took fall damage from that? There's fall damage in this game for everything except you, by the way. It's a funny mechanic. He took fall damage from that.
What?
Yeah. He was like up in the air for like 2 feet. He must have... And I'm glad we did that because that's Slam. Slam is a very, very good. We need that. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. There are 2 items I can get here that I can slam.
I like this from Seb. Seb says, 1 seed, I got Slam on the Catacombs tablet room, so it'd be very fun if
I saw that one.
Gets it in the seed.
Seb, I saw that. It was horrible. I was laughing. I'm sorry, but it was horrible.
Okay,
yeah, there's a room in an area that's, it's called the Catacombs. I usually just call it the Crypt. There's an area that no matter what your chapter is, it's already pre-scaled because in vanilla, you can't access it otherwise. So I guess it just saved them programming or something. I don't know. But it's an awful room that takes a little bit of time to beat up 2 whole enemies in there. And then you only get 1 item check. And that's a horrible, horrible place for anything like that to be in. Really unlucky. I saw it and I felt bad.
So I believe there's some first step context that I'm missing here, but somebody said Shaq Keys isn't participating in the KH2 rando race. I'm interested.
Oh yeah, so last month we did all of the Kingdom Hearts 2 and Pokemon rando. And yeah, Hobbs also got into GDQ. It's Hobbs, Spike, and I can't remember the other 2 names off the top of my head. I feel bad.
I think Violin is sounding familiar to me for some reason. I can go look at the list.
Yeah, Hobbs and I did it. We did so much Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon that it's gonna be in mainline. That's not how it works, folks, but like it's just kind of funny to think about. All right, so now that we have Slam.
Violin and Rose. Okay, so I had one of those right for the Kingdom Hearts runners.
Now we have Slam. There's another area we can access without fighting Garrett, so my stubbornness continues to live. Very happy. We're gonna go to the area that we just talked about, and actually no, we can't. I don't have swim. We're gonna get these items at least. I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I think I might have to fight Garrett anyway. I would also really like to get up here. The mimic is... Go away. There we go. Let's pretend like none of that happened.
That did not seem like a friendly fellow.
No, he's kind of a jerk. So there are mimics in this game. There's mimics in pots and mimics in boxes. I don't think we see box mimics too often besides that one, but they exist. But we can't do crypt because I don't have swim yet. So Garrett still looks like it's probably the right play, but now that I have slam, these items that I skipped to the left, I can actually get all of them now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
We have a question from the chat. Are you only missing 2 items?
No, I'm missing 3. I need 3 things.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have more than that, but I'm missing 3 things to beat ending B. We're still missing 5 stone tablet fragments, and the category for this is the true ending. So even if I had all of those, I wouldn't be close to done yet.
Someone said I'm hoping for bad play. You know what? If you want to see Russ, that's tomorrow. That's my other show. These are a little more polished here on Random Number Generation. I say that sometimes. I've played on this a little rusty before, but I expect keys to be fully polished at this game.
Well, see, you know, if it's Trex or Seb that said bad play, then I know exactly what they mean. And honestly, for the people, I'll do it after I get this item. There's something that we refer to affectionately as the bad play because it's out of the way of never mind, we're not doing bad play. Bye.
All of us ready for a meme. Everybody got me all excited for a meme in here.
You know what? Okay, we'll do it anyway. I'll do it anyway.
Okay, cool.
So this is known as bad play because this is in the church, so you can't get a stone tablet fragment. You have so many things that you need to get all the items here. So we're still not even going to be able to get all the items. And it's also a mini boss that you can fight at the end of this. And unless you fight some optional enemies, if you go here ASAP, like if you have Claw as one of your like first items and you come here early, you're level 1 against a boss that is way better than level 1. I reach this. Oh, this might be awkward. Get up there. Okay, good. Not having a real double jump kind of stinks. Yeah, we're going to be missing out on 1 item, but that's okay.
Someone had said, why have I not heard of this game? I believe we covered this a little bit earlier, but I'm more than happy to talk about it again. This game just released this year, and I want to say very early summer, so like late June from what I can understand. So that's why you haven't heard about it before. This is brand new, and I really wanted to have this on because it's, well, number one, it's beautiful. I mean, you look at it, it's just very aesthetically pleasing.
It really is.
The other thing is I'm not very familiar with Metroidvanias in general as a genre, so why not have something brand new and something that's beautiful on here? I love showing off just super different games every now and then, and I haven't seen, with the exception of the genre in general, the Metroidvania, but I haven't seen a game that aesthetically looks like this, except the only thing I would compare it to, and even then it doesn't do it justice, is Hollow Knight, I guess, but that's still very different from this.
Yeah. Hollow Knight is a pretty good game, though. No bias. I really want to heal. There we go. I also don't like that this boss is in the corner because I kind of rely on getting behind the boss. So I'm gonna. How far can you reach? Hello? I didn't know that. All right, this is gonna be an awkward fight for now, I guess. Good. No, get behind. No. This fight's going so weird. I don't want to die. There's no worse feeling than dying on bad play, especially when you don't have to be here. So that's bad play. That boss is annoyingly tanky, especially when you're under-leveled and don't have any upgrades. If I don't get anything from this, I won't be surprised. All right. That was for the people. I did it for all of you at home.
Hey, those are the best checks. Those are the best moments when you do it for the fans, right?
Yes. All right, so now that we have swim, we actually have access to like a lot of areas. I can access the crypt. I can access Twin Spires, which is a castle. I can access a castle, which is also a castle, and I can access Stockade. So we're actually in really good shape right now. I forgot about this item. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to rush the ruined castle It has a room that I refer to as Christmas room because the room has 11 total checks. So the moment that you have a chance to rush that room, I feel like that is the absolute best play you can make.
I do want to note a couple things pertaining to Keys Run in particular. So first off, if you haven't heard of the first step, what are you doing? That is going to be every Thursday here at 7 p.m. Eastern on GDQ Hotfix. Keys is on there. We also had Hobbs, who was on last week. Love featuring showrunners on my shows. So please be sure to check out the first step. And also, I have just provided the Twitch link for those of you watching on YouTube. That is twitch.tv/KeysAreon for all of your wonderful randos and memeing and awesome speedrunning. Just give Keys a follow. Very fun time.
I exist. So
Wow,
I went to that room and turned around immediately. So in this game, if you enter a room that has a respite being the benches I've been sitting on, those are kind of like your fast warp / checkpoints. If you enter the room, then the respite is available. So even though we didn't actually like use the respite, I entered the room and left immediately. Just so later, once I'm done with this area, we can come back. This guy is kind of being a jerk. Oh. I can't reach. He's so high up. I wish I had a double jump. I'm gonna heal. Hey, stay on the ground. Oh my gosh.
Remember, Keys, birds are jerks.
Birds are jerks.
I shouldn't be laughing. This looks brutal.
It's rough. One of those fights where if I had different abilities and or a double jump, it would probably go better. But otherwise, it went okay.
I give Keys a position, a platform to talk about content. And Keys says, I exist. This is what we do here, supposedly.
That me.
Well done on that fight, Keys. That did, again, I don't know much about this game. That looked really brutal. I see something with wings that's hard to reach. That just, my goodness.
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm gonna upgrade some stuff real quick. I made my one-eyed Aegis into max rank, which is level 6. It gets progressively more expensive to upgrade things. So like I only have like a level 4 on that. I spent all of my stuff on Royal Aegis. So I will argue there are 3 spirits in the current patch, because I'm on current patch for the rando, in current patch that are absolutely S tier. One-eyed Aegis is one of them, which is the sword that I have. There's also Floral Sorceress, which we don't have yet. And then there is Sigrid, which, we beat the boss Sigrid, but we don't have the spirit. So we actually have a really strong spirit, and it was absolutely 100% worth upgrading already. We got to do a couple of monster closets here to get through the game. Or get through this area, rather. Goody. I wish I had an actual double jump. I should have taken the elevator because I don't have a double jump. No. There's an item to check over here. Okay, I can flop like that, no big deal. Just showing the world I'm human, I guess. Oh man. Ooh. Okay, good. Good. So we got the other half of that like 2-part ability I was talking about. We got the Piercing Spectral Lance. So now any walls, which the walls look exactly like the ground stuff that I've broken, except, sideways, obviously. Now we can actually break through those. So that actually is a really, really good find. Oopsie. And it's absolutely necessary to have that item to beat the game. So we're making like pretty good progress in terms of like items that we need to grab. I'm kind of hurting on the stone tablet fragments, but that'll come with more exploration.
We were talking about this earlier, and this is with randomizers in general. If you find that your seed is front-loaded, that means those last few things you're going to need at the end are going to be few and far between to find. I don't know what I would prefer. All the good stuff up front, so it's easier to explore those endgame areas, or if I prefer them to be spread out throughout, because then I feel like I'm making consistent progress the whole time. One's a convenience, the other one is more of a positive mindset. So that's really difficult. If I could pick an ideal seed, what I would prefer between the two of them.
For sure, I agree entirely. We've got Vibrant Plume, which is a relic. It's not necessary. It's kind of a convenience thing, especially when you're lacking in any sort of options. So what the Vibrant Plume does is it increases your jump height. Not by a whole lot, but enough to where there's like some significant difference in some areas that you go. So I'm definitely going to put that on right now because we are hurting in verticality. Unless it's 4. If it's 4, I'll cry. 2. I'm sad that I'm getting rid of my extra ultimate, but I value the movement right now. So we're gonna take that off and stick with our Vibrant Plume here. If I could find double jump, that'd be really convenient. Not necessary, but really convenient. Hey, look, it's the starting spirit. We've done it. We finally found it. A cooldown double jump hurts. Okay, well, so I got Guardian Wings, which is, you'll see that in a sec. It's a dash. So now instead of belly flopping to dodge, I can just dash. It's really it's always confused me because the first half of the Julius ability is called dash, and this is called wings, but like it's a dash. Like it's always been a confusing terminology for me. So now we're only technically missing one thing to like beat the game, not for true ending, but just to beat the game outright. We're missing unlock, and that doesn't surprise me because typically my seeds that start really good and then take forever in the end, unlock is usually the last thing to get. This is actually pretty par for the course right now.
So what do you need to complete the true ending then if you only need one thing to beat the game?
I need all 7 stone tablet fragments. So one big reason I like doing the true ending is it shows off every area. So we could technically, if we're just going for ending B or even ending A, which is blasphemous, why would you do that? If you're only going for those 2 endings, you don't necessarily have to explore every area. Whereas with the true ending, you do have to explore every area. Which is kind of a neat way to like show off the game and also test your knowledge of the game. Yeah, we're missing. It's an odd combination we're missing. We're missing double jump and we're missing unlock. One of those makes sense. The other one's weird. No, I messed it up. There's an item up here that I want to grab. Did not mean to do that, but I got it, so that works. There's one item to the room to the left, but you have to do 3 different monster closets, and it's not the fastest thing to get. So I'm gonna hope there's nothing over there and try to be efficient and just like grab from places I know there's multiple checks with not as much work. Decayed Crown's a really cool relic, so I meant to explain this earlier, but I didn't. So if anyone... I did that wrong. If anyone has noticed, enemies have 2 meters above their head. There's typically like the red one for health, and then there's one below that is yellow if they're not a boss and purple if they are a boss. So what those meters are, there's health and then there's stamina. So Decayed Crown helps decrease their stamina quicker, so you can like stun them and take advantage of them not being able to attack for a little bit.
Someone wanted to know if there were any animals to save in this run. I think that's a cute question.
Oh, if I can reach this. Yes, there's a dog that you either can kill or not kill.
Don't kill it.
It's not. Well, the thing is, sometimes you have to.
Oh no! Don't
Because it
say
gives you
that.
it gives you an item check.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah. Okay, so there's one item I couldn't reach, but that's okay. We're going to Christmas room now. This has 11 checks. Because for some reason in the vanilla game, they give you 10 stagnant blight for everything on the ground instead of just giving you one that's 100. And so far, nothing really of note. The 11th check is a boss, so we are fighting a boss now. Or a mini boss, rather. At least I'm trying to. He's so agile for how big he is. Please stop dropping.
Geez, what would inspire somebody to pick this up? Like, sell someone on this game if they're watching this and they may be even kind of vaguely interested.
Let's see. Well, if you like really fun combat with multiple ways to approach the combat, and if you like exploration, this is a really, really good game. Also, really, 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 really good music. For the most part, everything is fluid. With current patch, there's also just a flat-out boss rush thing where you can fight all the bosses back to back to back. The game itself, in its vanilla form, also comes with modifiers. You can do stuff like one-hit mode, where you take any bit of damage and you die. You can make everything easier or harder. Ooh, stone tablet fragment. That's good. There's a lot of customization to the game. And there's unlock. Okay, so that's funny. We can beat the game now. Not true ending, but that's neat. I'm going to take a second to write down that I got my stone tablet fragment here in Castle. It's a really strange seed so far, I got to say. In a good way, in a good way. We can actually maybe finish it in a reasonable amount of time. Getting some momentum here. So the mechanic with some of these walls and also some of the floors that I can break, there's two levels of them. Some of them are a little thicker than the others. So you have to actually like fall from a like a higher plane or do more horizontal movement before you can break the wall, which is why that one in particular I kind of had to go way back before I broke it. But then every other one in this room I just kind of poked at it.
I keep looking at the color scheme in this game, and the color that stands out the most is red, and I'm wondering if that plays any significance in the game's story.
Yes, it does. There's
really?
So much so that like they had to change the color saturation because there are some colorblind issues actually.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well.
Oh yeah, we didn't go this way yet, so I was skipping a cutscene. All right, so we're gonna go to. This is known as Twin Spires. Anyone who's played the game vanilla, this is where you fight Olv normally. There's only two bosses here. There's Olv and there's the sub-spirit Forsaken Fellworm. But there's a lot to this castle. There is a lot. So there's a lot of items. We're at a point right now where even though double jump is very, very handy, I don't necessarily need it. So right now I'm at a point where if the area has a stone tablet fragment, I will keep going until I get that fragment and then just make my way to like the next bench and then leave. Like mask would be nice too. That's also something that isn't required, but it's also nice. Mask helps me survive the final area because the final area has a bunch of like, funny you're talking about the color. It has a bunch of red mist that actually like depletes your health. And the mask protects you from 90% of the damage. So you'll be taking 1 or 2 damage instead of 10 or 20 damage per tick. Very scary area. It's an area that if you're doing a speed run of the game, unless you're doing like unless you're doing 100% where your health is really high, it's not uncommon to die and lose runs there.
How long is a typical speedrun? We'll say ending B, because considering your attitude towards ending A, I assume that that's not used. Oh my goodness. Keys don't
Just
die
let
here,
me
please.
in. So I believe the best times for ending B right now, depending on the patch, because the patch does change the speedrun a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's 47 minutes without loads for 1.0, and then 1.1 is, was it 51, 52? I can't remember off the top of my head, actually. So like a little under an hour once you're really good at it.
That's a great length for a speedrun.
A little over an hour if you're doing a like true ending. A little over an hour if you're doing all spirits. A little over 2 hours if you're doing 100%.
Wow. Which categories do you run again? I remember you had mentioned something at the beginning, but for folks coming in.
I do all spirits and I do 100%. So right now, my time in all spirits for the 1.0 patches is a 107. My time for 100% in the 1.0 patches is a 205. And then I have I think a 113 in 1.1 patches for all spirits. And I have no idea what I have for 1.1 for 100%. I think it's like a 215, 216. I never recorded it though, so.
I don't run games that are new enough to experience what happens when a game gets patched. I've been seeing a lot of discourse about this in general, and it's really interesting. I'm sure the patches even change the face of the randomizer as well too, and maybe even complicate and or break things occasionally. Yeah,
so the thing about the patch, it was kind of interesting. Anyone who ever plays like a shooter game of some sort, it was almost like a patch for a shooter game, in the sense of they actually like buffed and nerfed some things. So in the 1.0 patches, there's a spirit called Aline, and Aline was just outright busted, like the best spirit in the game. You would use Aline's ultimate all the time. There's just like no reason to use any other spirit. Then they came out with the patch, and Aline got horribly nerfed to where she's actually one of the worst spirits in the game now. There's also Archer and Spider. Both of those got nerfed. There's a lot of things that got buffed, but the nerf was significant enough to where like you actually lose time because Aline was that good. Also in the 103 patch, you could actually do some nutty things with your inventory juggling, to where you have a bunch of like iframes and faster movement and stuff, which that was removed in 106. There's a lot of differences between 1.0 and 1.1, and like even among 1.0 patches, there's differences. Really interesting. Oh, I like this room. This is the first bit of color besides red that I've seen in a while. We get some whites here, like some vivid whites and some pink. I like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I go 2 more rooms to the right, which we won't be going there because there's no items there, but if we go 2 rooms to the right, then that's where ending A is. And ending A is literally, hey, don't stay here anymore. It's not safe. Oh, okay, I will leave. And then you win. Oh, that doesn't seem like a win. That seems like, if you've ever seen Evo Search for Eden, that just seems like one of those like losing endings where it's just like, oh, well, I guess this counts as an ending, but not really. No, now I know why you don't count ending A. I don't like that. Like ending A does have runs, and the runs are intense. They are super duper optimized. I will flat out admit that I cannot do those runs. Maybe if I actually took the time to learn it, perhaps. Oh. But I'm sure the runs are great. I'm talking more about from like a story perspective, right? Oh, no, 100% from a story perspective, it's lousy. No, the runs sound fantastic. Anytime, like, the ending A almost sounds like any percent. No, any percents are very intense, and they're very optimized because they're so short. So the runs, I'm sure, are very interesting. But from a story perspective, if I had done that and gotten that ending, I'd be like, well, that doesn't feel fulfilling. I can't get up that. Fine, if you insist. So this is where not having double jump is kind of unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to do some of these rooms in the intended ways, which that's no fun. Oh, we call that DLC in the speedrunning world, when you play something and you're seeing some extra stuff in the run that you normally wouldn't see. Oh yeah, definitely. No, no. Oh my goodness, I'm throwing this one away right now. Yeah, you know, I haven't gone through this in the intended way in a very long time, and this is no bueno.
It seems like of all the abilities to be missing, I mean, I don't want to be stating the obvious here, but not having double jump seems terrifying here in these screens.
Oh yeah, it sticks. I'm an unhappy boy. It's a very strange one to not have.
I'm trying to dress this up to seem like, you know, maybe this could be an okay thing. It challenges you, and Keith's just like, nah, this stinks. And I'm like, oh, okay,
it's horrible. It's the worst. It's so bad.
That's where we're going with this.
But it's okay, because that means more of the game, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. More content, more of us kind of rambling on. I mean, what's better than that?
Not very much. Maybe some cookies. Cookies would be good.
I'm down. They better be homemade, though. I hear that Richard, our wonderful tech person and friend, makes very good cookies.
Yes. Oh, I gotta do this room normal, too. Oh, no. You know what? We'll come back to this room. I'm doing this differently. It's so slow this way. I knew that room was gonna stink, but I forgot about that. But I didn't realize the other rooms were gonna stink without double jump. So we're just gonna go ahead and go the other way. So the fun thing about Twin Spires, if you already have Claw, which Claw is the ability you get at the end of this in vanilla. If you already have it, for the most part, you can do it clockwise instead of counterclockwise, and I'm pretty sure it's actually just outright faster, at least in terms of like getting randomizer checks out of the way. But there are 2 items in this room I'm gonna grab real quick, and then we're just gonna take a different way around. Oh no, I bonked my head. Oh, goodness. Not having double jump.
I thought you were going to say something, well, 2 things about the last place. And again, you can correct me. I'm kind of a noob here when it comes to this game / randomizer. But the most unsavory features about that last room, too many things with wings. And I'm still seeing this, just too many things with wings trying to get you. That's never a good thing if you're a player. The second thing is, again, just that not having double jump. Just every single time you're trying to get up to a high place, it looks like there's so many unwieldy and not intuitive things that you need to do to get to those locations. And I'm impressed but terrified at the same time.
Yeah, like I said, Verboten Champion here is basically a double jump with cooldown, so it's not the greatest thing in the world. And then you do have to do a lot of funky stuff. If we had gotten Silva as our movement, then you would see me charging a hammer all the time just to move up, which is cool but slow.
So what you're saying is it's kind of like a dollar store double jump, but it's not great.
Yeah, still. We got great value double jump. Pretty good. If you get Silva, it's basically Value Village.
Oh goodness. I'm gonna have to remember that one, Keys. This is good.
Oh, hey, look, Stone Tablet Fragment. I can leave. This is actually a pretty decent checkpoint to get it at too. So now we're gonna go to, we're actually gonna go to Crypt, but we're gonna do Crypt backwards because doing Crypt backwards, you actually do less warping overall. So I will have to warp here probably just because my movement's kind of poop. No, I can do it without the warp. Yeah, going through Crypt backwards, you actually do less warps overall. At least with the way that I check, so that's good.
So again, as a reminder, our break is coming up in a few minutes, and yes, folks, it is very important to take wellness breaks. We won't be gone for too long, though, I assure you. Please remember to follow Keys around. We're going to be talking about what Keys does outside of this game and on stream, because again, as much as Keys would like to downplay him, just like, yeah, I'm here, I would like to talk about Keys around a little bit more, because I do feel like Keys deserves more follows. And remember, follows are free, folks. So that is twitch.tv/Keysaron, KEIZARON for those of you on YouTube. Please give Keys a follow. I'm a big fan personally, and it's been awesome. I mean, I've known nothing about this game, but between folks from the Ender Lilies community, in chat, and between Keys, I'm learning a lot, and this is super interesting to me.
It's a pretty good game. I'd recommend getting it. I think it's like, what, 25 bucks? Oh, I missed horribly. Good thing I have this hook shot. Yeah, lots of content for 25 bucks.
I was gonna say, this game is massive. That's a really good deal.
Fun fact, I actually bought it on the Switch so I could play it on planes.
We were just talking about that in chat. So again, YouTube can't see chat. That's why I'm trying to answer and get around to things the best I can. This is available on a multitude of platforms. Now, I don't know if the randomizers. Some randomizers are in-game, others are conducted in different ways. But I know that the vanilla version is at least available on many different platforms, including the Switch. So yeah, if you want to pick this up, that seems like a really good buy for something like this. Just massive game, a lot of cool gameplay and movement.
I definitely recommend for sure. Please. There's an odd quirk where after you pick up an item, you have some iframes, but also you can't go down a ledge. So that's why you saw me jump after picking up the item. That was not out of celebration. That was just out of, I couldn't go through the ledge yet.
I love this question, and I want to talk about it even more in detail a little bit after the break, but we'll give you a preview of this. Someone had asked, how are you two feeling about your run at GDQ? I like the feeling question in particular on that. I'm going to defer to Keyzeron to answer first. Pick an adjective or feeling.
My feeling is it's still just, shock, first off. And then second, like, I'm just stoked. I'm super excited about it. Like, we play off of each other really well. Our races are always fun. Even if something's frustrating, we don't stay frustrated for too long because the other person lifts the other up.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun time. And like under the GDQ banner, it's going to be even better. And like on top of that, we're going to raise money for a good cause. So I'm just super stoked about it.
I'm very excited in particular because Keys had really seemed to take a liking to my marathon route. Yeah, it's not the fastest way to beat the game, but in a game like Forbidden Memories, I'll say it before and I'll say it 1,000 other times, that game owes you nothing. So the fact that I have been able to pack the amount of safeties that I have been able to in that route really makes me feel good about the fact that that game is going to see play on a marathon stage.
Absolutely. It's exciting to think about.
It's exciting now, but when you and I are staring down the final six, we're going to be like, oh God, I'm terrified. No.
Oh, so 100%.
We got to cheer each other on. I mean, yeah, we'll probably try to have some kind of competitive aspect to it, but I think at the end of the day, we're just rooting for one of us to finish because of how temperamental and volatile that game can be.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, in my defense, if I do lose this race, I at least have another race I could possibly try to win.
That's true. That's true. Hey, like I said, I'm going to consider it a win for me. If you win and I like get stuck in the final gauntlet, like that's fine. As long as one of us does it, I'm cool with it. All right, with that being said, I believe we're getting close to we are at the 1 hour mark. Would you like to find a spot to take a break? It doesn't have to be right this second.
I can literally pause whenever, so.
Okay, all right, so why don't you count the timer down then and pause, and we will take a wellness break here. I have a couple announcements here before we do that.
All right, I will go ahead and pause in 3, 2, 1, pause.
Oh, that's wonderful. Look, Keys has become an expert of this since like episode 1 of Mercy Kill. You know, some people are like, 3, 2, 1, pause. I'm like, don't do that to Richard. No, don't do that. So I hope y'all are enjoying it. Again, this will be a very brief break. Real quick before we go to our wellness break, though, remember that Random Number Generation and GDQ Hotfix is brought to you by viewers like you. Your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support our weekly Hotfix content, including Keyzeron's The First Step as well. So thank you very much for supporting our shows. We very much appreciate that. And there were some questions. So again, if you have missed out on any of our GDQ Hotfix shows, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And do not forget that Frost Fatale game and volunteer submissions are open now until November 14th. Go to gamesdonequick.com for more information about that fantastic marathon. And with that, everyone, please stay hydrated, stretch, and we'll be right back with Random Number Generation. Random Number Generation, I am joined here by Keyzeron, and this is our episode 50. We have Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights on. First time ever having this on, fairly fresh game. Keys, how are you doing?
Well, the seed is treating me really well, so there's concerns for that. Otherwise, I'm doing fine.
Well, maybe too well according to this, but we can get back into that as you run. So are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go again in 3, 2, 1, go.
I wasn't sure if you were nervous going through those menus or not, because sometimes runners will do that when they're kind of taking a look at what they have. So I was like, uh-oh, is there something I don't know about?
Oh no, that's just me doing my nervous tick in the pause menu.
No.
So just with games in general, like if I'm paused, like I'll still play around with the cursor and stuff. I do that in TFS during our breaks all the time too. Like I'll just press up and down just so I know the game's not freezing or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know, if I stop doing inputs for so long, my hands tend to cramp up. So I know that's something that kind of helps me out, is if there's like an interactive pause screen of some kind. Look, listen to this music.
Yeah, this music's really good. I was actually literally just about to say that. Like, this is like one of my favorite tracks in the game. My favorite is when we're in the Witch's Thicket, which was like the first major area we went to, where it's like, you know, the upbeat kind of piano thing. That's honestly my favorite. Okay, Executioner gloves are a great relic. I love Executioner gloves. Anyone who's played Dark Souls 3, it's basically the Lloyd's ring. You do more damage if you're at full health. It's one of my favorites.
So before I forget, and I'm glad I took a second to think about this, what else do you do? Again, I know you don't want to sell yourself too terribly much, but you know what? I like talking about positive things about you. So let us know about any of the projects you're working on, your stream, etc., and where folks can find you.
All right, so I am anything that's anything, you know, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, just at Keyzeron. Like if there's an @ symbol involved, just put the @ in front of it. Otherwise, it's just flat out Keyzeron. I usually do like a bunch of randomizers now. Like I used to be really big within Pokemon speedrunning, but I've kind of taken a step back from that, started doing other things. But for the most part, if you come to my stream, you're almost always guaranteed to see a randomizer, because I think randomizers are a great way to replay through games. And also, one tablet fragment. Also, I'm right now doing a Fire Emblem Three Houses playthrough. So I know a decent amount about the game, but I haven't actually beaten it before. So it's kind of my casual pleasure right now. But in the coming months, in preparation for GDQ, I'm gonna be doing a lot of like crystal key item randomizers, and also doing FM stuff.
Yeah, you and I kind of have to see each other on the regular between now and January now, don't we?
Yeah. I was actually gonna talk to you about that. We should probably like consider like a weekly race or something.
Yeah, I was considering that as well, too. So for folks who don't know, we were talking about this before the break, but I'm happy to bring it up again. So, again, to bring it up, GDQ 2022 will be January 9th through 16th, and the games list just got released. And it was my first time submitting in quite a few years, and I realized you always get the tag from somebody else too. Like I never see when the submissions list comes out. Somebody else had tagged me, and I'm like, this can't be serious, right? Like it's Forbidden Memories. It's, you know, speaking of random number generation, like even though it is the 15 card mod, like, and it is a 15 card mod of the vanilla game, it's still like the closest thing to a randomizer that a vanilla game could ever be. I can't think of a game as close to a randomizer as that is. And I just told you, I'm like, I can't believe that this is actually happening. So that is my first run at a GDQ since 2015, and I'm just super excited and honored to do that, and to do it with Keys as well. You know, not all the pressure is on me, which is one of my favorite parts of the race. You know, Keys was talking about if somebody's feeling down, the other person can lift them up. Like that's so important. It's so important to have that like camaraderie, that friendship going on during that. So I'm really glad that I'm not doing it alone, because I mean I enjoyed my Flame Fatale run, but doing it alone, there's a lot of nerves that come with being alone for sure.
You know, the best part about us doing it together too is this is not the first time that you and I, oh my God, what? Okay. This is not the first time that you and I have done card game related stuff together, because I used to do Magic the Gathering a lot, and we would always like bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and again, Magic's one of those games. It costs a lot of money. But again, as a reminder, this is a great game on a budget. I'm told that this game is $25. So if you enjoy like really, really good, like tons of game content for not so much money, this is a great game for you. Unlike Magic, where like that costs a lot of money to maintain.
Oh yeah.
I will not sugarcoat that. So yeah, Keys and I did a little bit of Magic the Gathering together, and I totally understand. I have a lot of folks who are in and out of that hobby just because of the amount of money and dedication that does take. But when Keys did play, I'll tell y'all, Keys is good. Keys is really, really good. When Keys gets the bread and butter control decks, Keys is like unstoppable. It's great.
I like control decks. What a shock. So interesting thing just happened. So you might have noticed that I went from like swimming in a really scary looking place to all of a sudden not being there. So as I mentioned before, there's 7 sections you can get these stone tablet fragments at. We were technically in Stockade. Stockade is actually like a really miserable place to be, but we were technically in Stockade just now, and the first item was the stone tablet fragment, so we literally don't have to go there unless I'm really desperate for double jump, which I'm pretty much trying to commit to not getting double jump or mask. So now this is part of the final area. It's called Verboten Domain. This is where there's going to be red mist and stuff. So there's a high likelihood that we're going to actually see deaths for the first time in the run, because I'm going to be doing a lot of like unsafe stuff, as for lack of better words. Yeah, this is where you're going to see a lot more of like the red and pink hues.
I was going to say, this is gorgeous. So you had mentioned something earlier about this game's issues with being colorblind. Is there anything that can be done with like a mod of this game perhaps down the line, or something that at least the randomizer could adopt to help aid with that?
So when they updated from the 1.0 patches to the 1.1 patches, they did make some significant contrast changes. So it's a lot easier to see than it was before, but it's still a little tough. I'm hoping we don't have to fight the boss, but there's a sub-spirit called Incompetent Sinner who is underwater. And in the 1.0 patches, because of my color deficiency, I straight up could not see the boss. So I had to, like even doing runs today on that patch, I have to hope that I hit it, because, by hitting it, its health bar will pop up above its head, and that's how I identify where it is. In the 1.1 patches, they changed the contrast of the area, so the boss is a lot more of a white color, and he stands out a lot more. So it's not as bad as it used to be. But it was pretty bad. It was frustratingly bad for me, especially. Like I had some people that would reach out to me and be like, I'm not even colorblind or color deficient, and I can't see this boss.
Yeah. It's important to have these conversations too about accessibility in gaming. It can be something from color palettes in the game down to the controller that's used to play that. And again, making suggestions to developers, always important. Please give that feedback. Again, that's how accessibility in gaming can be improved. So, worth noting, for sure.
Oh, God.
On a very different topic, back to the Magic thing really quickly, because I feel like this is worth revisiting. Someone said, he's a Teferi main, isn't he?
Wait, what, me? Teferi? Never. What? That doesn't sound like... What? No. Me using Teferi, that's... Yeah, that's me.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Keys and I go way back with that for sure.
There are 2 items in this room that I can't get unless I go through Stockade, that place I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So hopefully the last tablet isn't there. If it is, then I kind of deserve it. But so this area is interesting. To advance, you have to pull 2 levers because there's gates blocking the elevator that actually takes you towards the end game. Ooh, that's bad. Also, if you noticed, I'm taking like 20 damage per second in the water. It's not comfy in here because I don't have mask. And no double jump either, so I anticipate a couple of deaths for sure.
I assume you'll need to find double jump to complete the seed?
No, I can beat it without double jump. It's just not gonna be comfy.
even the even ending C, as you were talking about it earlier? Okay.
Yes. So this might be one of those seeds where you don't see double jump at all. It's not going to be pretty looking, but it can happen.
Wow, that slam ability is so cool. I love the animation on that.
It's a cool animation for sure. I'm actually going to... This isn't a required room, but it is 2 items to check, and it also has a boss fight, so you know that's always fun. Speaking of bosses, I already mentioned before that if you beat main bosses, your chapters go up. So we've made all of this progress fighting no main bosses besides the first required one. So we're still at chapter 2, which means a lot of the enemies are going to be really, really easy to kill, and they don't hurt you as much. This is actually kind of a good seed for that.
I want to take this time again to thank Keys for bringing this game to our random number generation, because this has been so unlike anything we've ever had on here, and it's just been a real pleasure to watch such a beautiful game.
I love this game so much. It's such a fun game. So we're not getting rewarded there. It doesn't surprise me. There's one more item here where we have to go through more fog. Also, if you don't like this fog, you kind of have to get used to it, because this is going to be our life for the next like 20 minutes.
Are you able to see okay in it? Like the kind of flashing colors, and I'm glad you said that. So there's a little bit of a content warning here for the changing colors, just in case you're sensitive. It's not like super flashy, but still, you know, it's a lot of changes.
Yeah, so I can see like most everything I'm doing right now, I can see fine for the most part. Even in the 1.0 patches where the contrast isn't as good, it's not the best solution, but I was able to do all my runs because at that point in time I had memorized where everything was. So even though I might not necessarily be able to see it clearly, I at least like know the area. Like it's more difficult when you're in the water for sure. Like the fog also is kind of bad, but like in the water it's really, really bad. At least in the old patches.
I'd say so far, I mean, besides the music and the artwork here, because that, of course, is my favorite part. My second favorite part is just this movement still. I can't get over how beautiful even the movement looks.
Yeah, the movement's really good. The only silly thing about the movement is when you don't have the wings yet and you have to do your traditional dodge, which is the belly flop. It's funny, at least. Like, it wouldn't be as entertaining if it wasn't funny, but it's definitely a funny movement. Darn. So this is a bench that if I had the mask, I wouldn't take it. There's no harm in taking benches. It's just a little extra time, and it changes like where you warp when you do your little bench warps. You can always fast travel between them, like I have been this whole time. So it's not a huge deal. It's a very, very tiny time loss, but it kind of shows like how valuable having the mask is. Like this is incredibly dangerous what I'm doing right now. Item up here that requires a lot of hooks.
So given the choice lately, and this may be a little skewed depending on how much you've been practicing the game, do you prefer the randomizer or the vanilla version better when you think about what you would want to play on any given day?
On any given day, I have a little more fun with the randomizer than runs, just because it's pretty low stress. You're just trying to beat it. You go in with the knowledge that it's a randomizer, so there's like no point in like necessarily caring what your PB is. The way that I usually keep track of my randomizers, and this is like my tip to anyone that likes doing randomizers that might get a little stressed with their timer or whatever, I would change if you're using live split, I would change your comparison to average splits. Because like knowing the average to me is a little more valuable than knowing if I'm going to PB or not, and something that, at the end of the day is not going to make a huge difference to your vanilla runs. But I think I have my average on this at like 2 hours, I think.
Average is actually a really great time, like if you're looking for a point in comparison. Many folks just like to play a randomizer and not even time at all, just to play through the game in this way. But if you're looking to see, okay, have I improved on the game as a whole and through the average, that's a great way to do it, actually. That's something that I should think about doing for some of the randomizers I play.
Yeah, I just like, even with like regular speedruns, just in general, I love doing average comparison because for me, I find a lot of value in trying to complete a run, even if it's not going to PB, because one thing that I noticed when I was a much newer speedrunner is I would stress myself out over the beginning game so much that I'd get to the end game and not know what to do because I spent so much time at the beginning. Like there's like a huge like skill discrepancy between like my beginning games and my end games.
We have a question in chat, and I think this is just about even speedrunning in general. Do you ever drop off old runs, like the last 10 runs or something? And I assume that applies to your data that you use on LiveSplit.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, do you ever drop off old runs, like the last 10 runs? So like if there's data that's like kind of an outlier or something, do you tend to drop that out of your data, or do you just collect all the data you can?
I just collect all of it personally.
It's a very interesting point, you know. We're always, as speedrunners, comparing against our PB, and let's say we're like plus 2 minutes coming out of the first split on a longer game, or even if you're like plus 15 seconds on a shorter game, you do see a lot of front-loaded resets, and what that does cause is this effect that Keys was talking about is like, well, you get to the end game and you're like, with this really great time, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Because you don't get a chance to see the end game that often. So I approve of the tactic of using average splits. Have you ever PB'd just on average splits randomly, Keys?
Yes. So actually, I was using average splits back when I did. I'm gonna try to fight this boss, and we're probably gonna die horribly. When I actually did a lot of Heart Gold Soul Silver, I actually used average splits, and I got the record at the time doing that. No, he was almost dead, but I was too slow on my heal. We're gonna try again. So that's our first death, and this is the boss that on 1.0 I can't see unless I hit him once. We have a very hate-hate relationship, me and this boss.
Well, if it helps, it looks like you're in a good spot on items, and we still have plenty of time left, so no super rush here, Keys.
Well, we beat him. So that's good. Second try, you know, no big deal. This jerk. And he didn't have anything worth a damn. All right, that's fine. I beat him anyway. Maskless Sinner is such a pain in the butt. Like such a huge pain in the butt. But something we did get, so we're actually finally replacing Ulf. So we got a spirit called Faden. Faden's really good. He has a projectile base attack, and his ultimate is like a giant like zombie claw that pops out and does a lot of damage to enemies. So we got a really good spirit with a really good ultimate. And so we finally have a different main weapon after all this time. It took a while.
Someone in the chat had said, I'd like to see some worse runs sometimes. Those runs where nothing goes right and the runner keeps going and finishes the run anyways. Oh, do I have a show for you, if that's the case? So the show that I have on Wednesdays, which would be tomorrow in this context, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see them. They're called Mercy Kill, and that is folks running rusty runs. And those are definitely the runs where not a lot goes right. And it's really fun to watch no reset runs, which is essentially what Mercy Kill is. Instead of seeing that whole reset thing, you know what? You haven't played this game in 2 years. Let's see how you do it now. And it's just fun. It's fun to do that. I've had Keys was on for my pilot episode of Mercy Kill, and that was fun.
I crashed.
I'm pretty sure you got through it. Just folks were...
I did. It's just we had that soft lock at the beginning. So while you were mentioning all of that, I actually did just get the last stone tablet fragment, which is really good. Because there's an area that we refer to as hell in this area where like I need the mask. Like I absolutely need the mask. I can't do what I'm doing because you take even more damage there and it's horrible and it's just the worst thing on the planet, but we don't have to do it. I'm also taking this kind of slow right now. You could like zip past it, but because we have a lot of water we have to go through and I don't have mask, I'm just playing it really slow and safe. So now the only thing I have left to do is get the get the second switch for the elevator in this area, and then we just pretty much play through the rest of the game. Like we're actually, I need to click on that because it's manual now, but we're actually in go mode. Like this is actually an incredibly fast seed for true ending. And without double jump. Who needs double jump? Double jump's for wimps. I'm gonna go ahead and... So this is the part I'm about to do. This is why we need the 7 stone tablet fragments. So this item is not randomized, which, you know, thank goodness. I would hate that. But you have to go all the way back to the beginning, like exactly to where you were when you first started the game. And then there's like a little hidden room behind where you start that you need unlock for. And then once you go down there, there's like a little, I don't know what to call it, but there's this area that you put the stone tablet fragments in, and you get an item called the Luminant Aegis Curio. And that's the item that allows you to do the second fight against the final boss and unlock the true ending. So we're just grabbing that now. That way we don't have to come back later. It is this is definitely way faster than I've ever had for like a true ending seed, though. I think my fastest time right now is a 136, and we're at like 123 or something. This is such a baby seed. This is like one of the only cutscenes in the game you can't skip. Like you have to actually mash through this. So there's the curio. Also, the cutscene's still pretty regardless, so it's like not the worst thing to have to sit through. Boss 2. Oh, I can equip so many things. I forgot that we had so many things we could equip. So that's that. Get rid of you. That. Yeah, I think that'll do. All right, so all we got to do now, like I said, I got to pull that lever, which we still got a lot of movement we got to do for that. We got to pull that lever, and then I have to fight 2 bosses, and then we are done.
This is awesome. So this is this like a jet seed in terms of Ender Lilies?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I'm actually surprised. Like my best times I've been getting lately are like around the 145 mark, and we don't usually get treated this nicely. Like this game, the seed gave us a lot of nice stuff really early. Oh God. Not having double jump is still weird though.
I knew you were gonna mention that again. I just had a feeling.
Like it's funny because one of the things that I said in terms of design for this game, one of the things that I kind of disagreed with was how quickly you got double jump. Because I pulled it already. I'm silly. In Metroidvanias, double jump is super duper handy for a lot of the travel and stuff. But I think like you don't have a life in this game without double jump other than the first 5 minutes, because it's your first ability you get. So I argued for a while that like it kind of loses out on some like potential backtracking and like some potential cool stuff. And ever since I said that, half of my randos I don't get double jump for a long time. So it's like the rando listened and was like, hey, we're gonna make you regret those words.
Had a question from the chat really quickly, and I don't mind if we answer this again. Someone said, missed the beginning of the run. How newbie friendly is this rando?
As it stands right now, before an easier mode is made, I wouldn't say it's newbie friendly necessarily. I do think if you're newer to the game, you can handle it just fine. But having some knowledge of the game and its mechanics definitely make a huge difference. All right, so I get to show you Faden now. You get to see why Faden's so good.
Wow, that is a very big creature.
Yes, it is. And it is almost dead.
Wow.
It is dead.
Look at this gamer.
This fight is exactly why I try to avoid main bosses. So Now we're on chapter 3 because that's a main boss. If we had done any of the other main bosses, not only would it not have been like too great for us because, you know, we got all these items already, like they weren't behind bosses, but that boss would be a lot harder. Normally, in a vanilla run of the game, you're fighting it either at chapter 7 or chapter 8, depending on the route. So it's very tanky. The fight is not nearly that fast. You can die in one hit to a multitude of its attacks. But lucky for us, also these fish in this area, depending on the run, can one-shot or almost one-shot you. But since the chapter count is so low, they do so much less damage.
How are the swimming controls in this, by the way?
They're all right.
Okay.
They're pretty simple. The dashes that you see me do, that's not actually vanilla. So what I'm doing there is I'm mashing dash and heal. So I'm canceling the cooldown of the dash. There's like a little like small speed tech thing. I don't even have that many good spirits, so let's figure out what I'm doing here. I'm gonna put on that. I guess I'm putting on that. Oh my god, this is so weird.
Silly question. What are the benches for? It looked like you sat down to go to the menu.
Yeah, so it's like Hollow Knight. You can't like change your loadout or anything unless you're sitting on a bench.
Okay, yeah, and someone had even just mentioned in chat the main differences between this and Hollow Knight. It's hard to avoid talking about one game, specifically this game, without mentioning Hollow Knight. Is there any reason for that? I know they're a similar genre and we have the bench, but what are some other similarities?
The openness of the game. You don't necessarily have to do everything in a set certain order. It's not as open as Hollow Knight, I would say, but it is still really open, and you can still do things in a lot of different orders. Also, yeah, this is the final boss. Forgot to mention that. It has three phases on this first fight, and then 2 phases on the second fight, I believe. It is only chapter 3 though, so that's the first fight down, and now we're gonna do the true ending fight, and then we're gonna be done, which is way quicker than I thought.
Okay, so I initially thought when I saw this boss at a glance, when I saw you play it on stream, that it looked like a spider, but now it looks more like a demon, and I can't decide which one of the two it is.
All right. So time is actually in like a couple of seconds, and I'll call it out.
Okay.
And time. Holy crap, that was a sub 130. That's nutty.
Wow, that's awesome. And who generated this again, Keith?
Trex, the one who Trex is an admin of the Ender Lily speedrunning community and is also responsible for the randomizer existing. Thanks for the baby seed, I guess. I just wanted a seed without Umbral.
I mean, I guess the animals were saved. I don't remember seeing any animals.
Yeah, we didn't have to fight dogs, so we saved the animals.
Hey, we'll take that. Wow.
Wow, that was
really
way
impressed.
faster than I expected.
Well, we have time for shoutouts and a discussion really quickly, if you would like to do so, Keys.
Sure. So, as usual, shoutouts to the Ender Lilies community. They're a really fun bunch, smaller community that's growing by the day. There's a lot of like really good discussion for like the randomizer lately, because that's like the big thing that's going on with the community. But like there's also like multiple places you could talk about routing for any of the runs. Everyone's super duper friendly and eager to help people. Also, I just noticed my in-game time is 1337. Nice. But also shout outs to Emre for even getting me this game to begin with. I've had a blast with this game. Like any other speedrunner, I'll get frustrated at it and, so on and so forth. But it's been a really fun game. I really enjoy it. I'm watching streams of it like daily and like, watching different runs just to like learn new things. It's nice to be out of the like RPG comfort zone and like do something that's a little more execution based. Shout outs to you for inviting me.
Of course.
It's always nice to be on your shows. I don't know if I have anything I could give you for Mercy Kill for anytime soon other than like Battle Network, but there's always that.
There's always that, and plus you never know what kind of turn Mercy Kill could take, because sometimes we have folks do something that's, more recent than 10 years. That just means we tighten up the estimate, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely see with that. But that's interesting to know. Battle Network's another game I'd never heard of, so that would be cool.
It is the RPG version of Mega Man, pretty much. Like it takes the Mega Man universe and turns it into like a card-based RPG.
That is awesome.
It's very execution heavy, even though it's an RPG. So it's a fun run for sure.
Well, before we close out for RNG, I know this episode was a little bit on the shorter side. I can't help it though. Keys gamed. Like, look at the estimate that Keys gave it, and look at what happened here. Just sometimes that's the way RNG works.
I didn't have double jump. I can't get over it. I didn't have double jump this whole time.
I do want to remind you all that there is a show immediately after this. It is called Aimbot, so we will go to a break right after this. But real quick, again, I do want to thank Keys Around for being here. The First Step, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. Keys and Hobbs, another great friend of mine, Hobbs, both go through a series of games, and they see what happens when you take the first step, of speedrunning a game. I really like that, though. It makes speedrunning seem, that much more accessible in the sense of it's very daunting to pick up a speedrun. So I really like the premise for your show. Big fan of it.
What I love the most about the show is we'll get tweets and messages and comments and all that stuff from people that have watched the show and have actually started speedrunning because, that's the whole point of the show. Like, it's awesome to hear that the show is enjoyed by people who don't speedrun, that want to, people that do speedrun, but are kind of like trying to look to get out of their comfort zone. And, even my coworkers and peers, it's always super nice to hear that like the first step is something that has actually had the impact that Hobbs and I were hoping it would have. And I always love bringing this fact up too, for anyone who ever wants to pick up speedrunning. There's a runner, I'm going to name drop you this time, but Oscar424 was someone who watched the first step. And, a year after watching the first step, Oscar424 did Resogun for SGDQ 2021. So, that just kind of shows that like you can start anywhere, start anytime, and you can make it to a big event or like get world records. Like all it takes is just a little bit of time and dedication, and it's super duper awesome.
Well, speaking of awesome, again, YouTube, if you're watching, again, I know y'all can't see chat, so that's twitch.tv/Keyseron to please give Keyseron a follow. At Keyseron also on Twitter. And Keys, do you have a YouTube that you can plug real quick?
Yep, just youtube.com/Keyseron.
Very cool. All right, folks. Well, that is going to be it for Random Number Generation. I do have some announcements, as always, but the next time I believe you see Keyseron and I in this context will be on the big stage of GDQ 2022 online. So when you see us together again, it will be time to duel, for sure. So let's see real quickly, while I am here, what are we doing in 2 weeks? Because I always love previewing the next run. Oh, y'all, I believe we are doing a Zooter in 2 weeks. We are going to have our very own 2 brand new showrunners here, Nuclear Reaction and Fan_TV here for Zooter in 2 weeks. So if you are a big Zelda Ocarina of Time fan, y'all will want to show up. And also we can greet the 2 new showrunners as well. Who wouldn't want to do that? So real quick, before we go again, so we will have Aimbot right after this. We're going to be here for the BioShock trilogy, so please don't go anywhere with Aimbot coming up. And of course, tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern for my other show, Mercy Kill, followed by Never Before Seen. We have a ton of awesome programming here on GDQ Hotfix this week. Everybody, don't go anywhere. We're coming right back with Aimbot. Take care, everybody. Skybilz for Random Number Generation.
Bye.